Khamzat's an incredible fighter, but you're fighting in the top 5 of the UFC. Everybody's incredible fighters. He has this one thing that works for him, and it's been good. But Khamzat is an absolute animal.
He can wrestle. He's got very good jiu-jitsu. He hits hard, and he's a big, durable dude. But I don't know if he's going to be able to wrestle with that guy.
Chimaev will take him down. If he doesn't finish him, I think Dricus wins the fight. I just find it hard to see Chimaev taking him down for 25 minutes.
Yeah, I think it's a great fight. And you're right. You want to Khamzat, call him scared. You want to make Chimaev mad, call him afraid of anything. And he'll come at you like a bat out of hell. I think it's a great fight. I think Dricus's awkward ability and his ability to create different angles to make you not recognize what you're seeing makes it a much tougher fight than most people may anticipate.
Khamzat Chimaev on your back in round 1 is not easy to get off. He just, screw it, I'm going all in. He shot from the middle of the cage and ran him all the way to the cage. And then he was able to sink that in. And that goes to show how strong of a squeeze this freaking dude had.
Could he pull that same style against Dricus Du Plessis? Say this.
The buzz is growing fast as UFC 319 approaches, and fans are counting down the days to the explosive showdown between Khamzat Chimaev and Dricus Du Plessis. With the middleweight belt up for grabs, excitement is at an all-time high. However, many MMA analysts and fighters are sounding the alarm for DDP, warning him not to take Khamzat lightly. Chimaev's relentless style, power, and aggression make him one of the most dangerous threats in the division, and underestimating him could be a costly mistake.
Special. My whole life, I've never seen anything like him. He's special, he's different. This guy is one of the most special fighters I've ever seen, if not the most special guy that I've ever come across. He kept telling me leading up to this fight, "You'd think I'm a wrestler, wait till you see my hand."
Shera Bullet Magomedov didn't hold back when backing Khamzat Chimaev ahead of his middleweight title showdown with Dricus Du Plessis. When asked for his prediction, Shera confidently shut down Dricus' chances, saying Chimaev has things under control and fans will only give Du Plessis a brief moment of silence, just 2 seconds, before all attention shifts to Khamzat's dominance.
Championship fight between Dricus Du Plessis and Khamzat Chimaev for the middleweight title. How do you think the fight will play out, and who do you think was going to get his hand raised? As I said before, Dricus is in very good, strong hands in this fight, and we will make sure to remember his name with 2 seconds of silence afterwards.
UFC Hall of Famer Tito Ortiz has also weighed in on the upcoming middleweight title clash, predicting that fans are about to witness just how dangerous Khamzat Chimaev truly is. While he acknowledged Dricus Du Plessis as a worthy champion, Ortiz warned that Du Plessis could be in for a harsh reality check, especially during the wrestling exchanges, where he expects Chimaev to take full control. Tito predicted that Khamzat would likely break Dricus down and finish the job within 3 to 4 rounds.
How do you predict that fight plays out?
People are going to see how vicious Chimaev truly is. I respect the guy. He's a monster. Du Plessis, the champ, I think he's in him for a rude awakening because he's going to realize that his wrestling is not as good as Chimaev's truly is. I think I would give it maybe 4 rounds, 3 to 4 rounds. I think Chimaev just overwhelms him too much.
Meanwhile, Khabib Nurmagomedov offered strategic advice to Khamzat Chimaev ahead of his title bout with Dricus Du Plessis, suggesting he keep the fight on the feet, where he believes Khamzat has the upper hand in striking. Khabib warned against going all in for an early finish, pointing out that if the fight drags into the later rounds, cardio could become a serious factor. He emphasized that while Du Plessis has already proven his durability in deep waters, Chimaev has yet to face that kind of test.
Я думаю, что мое личное мнение, я бы Хамзату посоветовал бы, чтобы он в стойке дрался.
Но мне кажется, вот как будто его стиль такой, что с первых минут атаку. Как будто его надо придерживаться, нет, этого стиля?
Прикинь, если я делал бы, я бы посоветовал бы по-другому.
Да?
Вот чисто по боксу пусти их, Хамзат лучше. Вот чисто по боксу. Это мое мнение. Просто здесь есть такой момент. Ты можешь сфорсировать события. Там раунд, 2. Но если ты его не финишируешь, ты очень много энергии потратишь. А потом надо в чемпионских боях.
Khabib Nurmagomedov also shared his perspective on Dricus Du Plessis defending his middleweight title against Khamzat Chimaev. He acknowledged Du Plessis as a gritty and relentless competitor, known for his non-stop pressure and high-volume striking. While he may not be the most technical or precise striker, Khabib pointed out that Dricus makes up for it with constant movement and an aggressive output of punches and kicks that rarely lets up.
Он интересный соперник. Он очень крепкий, он будет драться. Такой своеобразный кикбоксинг, руки-ноги выкидывать. Вот что хорошо, вот что плохо у Дю Плесси, такой точный, но он очень много выкидывает. Он постоянно выкидывает руки-ноги, постоянно он в атаке, если вы смотрели. Вот даже Стрикландом. Я в этом бою конкретно ошибся. Я думал, что Стрикланд своим давлением все он должен взять. Но он его перебил. Перебил как своим. Он очень много накидывает, он не стоит. Бывают такие бойцы, вот они заходят, он так думает, кидает, смотрит. А бывают такие, не так сильно у них техника, но он очень много накидывает.
Israel Adesanya recently offered his thoughts on the highly anticipated matchup between Khamzat Chimaev and Dricus Du Plessis, acknowledging Chimaev's strength but ultimately backing Du Plessis to get the win, most likely with a late finish. Adesanya suggested that Chimaev's best chance would be in the early rounds, but leaned toward Du Plessis due to his unpredictable and chaotic fighting style. He likened the bout to a collision of chaos, describing Dricus as a chaotic goody and Khamzat as a chaotic evil, predicting the bout would come down to which form of chaos prevails. Meanwhile, former champion Robert Whittaker also weighed in, stating that Chimaev must secure an early finish, particularly on the ground. While he believes Khamzat has the skills to take Du Plessis down, Whittaker warned that if the fight stretches beyond the opening round, momentum could shift. He emphasized that Du Plessis is the kind of fighter who always finds a way to win as time goes on.
DDP and Khamzat, who do you think wins that fight?
Honestly, Chimaev is going to get him to the ground. If he doesn't finish him there, I don't think he wins. I think if you can't get Dricus out in the first, which Chimaev can do, his first round finishes is his thing. But if he doesn't get him out of there, I think Dricus, he's a guy that if you don't get rid of, kind of...
In a recent interview, Robert Whittaker, who has shared the cage with both fighters, shared his thoughts on the UFC 319 title clash. He predicted that Khamzat Chimaev would successfully take Dricus Du Plessis down early in the fight. However, Whittaker cautioned that if Chimaev fails to secure a quick finish after the takedown, his chances of winning could quickly slip away.
You have the rare insight of being one of the few people who has fought Khamzat and Dricus. So what do you think happens at UFC 319?
I think Khamzat will take Dricus down. But I believe, and this is obviously just top of the head, if Khamzat doesn't finish Dricus when he takes him down, I don't think he wins that fight.
Robert Whittaker echoed the sentiment that Khamzat Chimaev will need an early finish to beat Dricus Du Plessis. He warned that if Chimaev can't put Du Plessis away quickly, the fight could begin to shift out of his control. Whittaker described Dricus as incredibly tough and resilient, a fighter who not only refuses to fade but actually becomes more dangerous as the fight progresses.
So you think Khamzat needs to get that quick finish the longer the fight goes? This seems to be kind of the theme that we're getting as we get closer to the fight. People feel like if he doesn't finish it early, Dricus is going to be really tough to deal with later on.
And that's exactly it. You hit the nail on the head there. Dricus is one of those dudes that doesn't go away. And he gets better, if anything, over the rounds. He's just so resilient. So if you don't get him out of there, I don't see him being...
Eddie Alvarez described Khamzat Chimaev as a force of nature, but admitted that Dricus Du Plessis presents a unique challenge. Alvarez called Du Plessis awkward to watch, unorthodox, lacking clean technique, but emphasized that he's still highly effective. According to Alvarez, what Dricus lacks in polish, he makes up for with grit, insane cardio, and relentless determination. He noted that while it's hard to bet against Chimaev's raw power, if the fight goes beyond the second round, he leans toward Du Plessis, who always finds a way, no matter how messy it looks. Meanwhile, Rainier de Ridder pointed out that fighters like Kamaru Usman and Gilbert Burns made a crucial mistake against Chimaev by easing up too soon. He explained that once they allowed Chimaev to dictate the pace, he took control of the fight. De Ridder believes that with a more aggressive start, they might have had a real chance to beat him.
When you look at Khamzat Chimaev, what do you think is something a lot of fighters have gotten wrong in their approach to fighting him?
I think they are like Kamaru, Gilbert. They kind of stepped off the gas for a little bit, if you know what I mean. They kind of gave him the chance to start and to set the pace and to take the lead. And we saw in those fights that they were pretty much able to hang with him. And I think if they would have come out a bit more aggressive, that they would have had a chance to beat him.
Rainier de Ridder shared his view that Dricus Du Plessis might actually be the favorite heading into the fight, largely because of his aggressive approach and relentless pace from the opening bell. He pointed out that it's still difficult to fully assess where Khamzat Chimaev stands as a complete fighter, especially since his bout with Robert Whittaker ended quickly after an early takedown and finish. While de Ridder acknowledged that Chimaev may have evolved significantly since then, he noted that, for now, the full scope of his skill set remains somewhat unclear.
Dricus is a guy who doesn't really hold anything back anyway in the first couple of rounds, so that's why I feel like Dricus might be the favorite in my mind, but we'll see. We haven't seen Khamzat as active. We didn't see a lot from him in the Whittaker fight because he took him down, stayed on top, and then finished him pretty quickly. So I'm curious. Maybe he evolved a lot as well. We don't really know where Khamzat is at because he might have just really upped his game and really evolved as a fighter as well.
Rainier de Ridder pushed back on the notion that Khamzat Chimaev is the most feared fighter in the division, at least from his perspective. He argued that there are more well-rounded athletes in the mix and pointed to Nassourdine Imavov as a prime example. De Ridder praised Imavov for his composure, fight IQ, and technical skill, suggesting that he might pose an even greater challenge stylistically. That said, he still gave Chimaev credit, acknowledging him as a highly talented and dangerous competitor.
Do you feel like Khamzat's the most feared opponent in your division?
Everybody, I come in for everybody, kill everybody. I'm the champ.
Not by me. I think there's better fighters in the division, to be honest. More complete guys. I think we don't really talk about him as much. But the French guy, what's his name?
Imavov.
Imavov. He's very complete. He moves very well, very relaxed, very smart when he fights. I think that might be a harder fight, to be honest. But Khamzat is, of course, is a great fighter.
On the flip side, Paulo Costa admitted that predicting the outcome of Chimaev versus Du Plessis isn't easy, but he sees Dricus as the more stable and well-rounded fighter. Costa believes that if Du Plessis can weather Khamzat Chimaev's early aggression and hold his ground, the momentum could begin to shift after the third round. He raised doubts about whether Chimaev can maintain his explosive energy deep into a 5-round battle, saying, "That's what I'm wondering." Meanwhile, Luke Rockhold also expressed skepticism about Chimaev's ability to keep up his pressure over 5 rounds against someone like Du Plessis. Having trained with Dricus, Rockhold emphasized his toughness, cardio, and refusal to fade as the fight goes on. He believes Chimaev will either need to dominate early or score a finish, because his high-intensity style isn't designed for drawn-out wars.
Do you reckon Khamzat will be able to handle DDP later on in the fight if he can survive?
I don't like those opportunities for him. I've trained with DDP a lot. He's tough. He ain't gonna go away. You gotta dominate him. You gotta finish him. I mean, you gotta dominate him from start to finish, or you gotta finish him early. I mean, and I just don't see how Khamzat's going to keep that pressure. That his intensity you can only keep that for so long. That's not 5-round material.
Luke Rockhold praised Dricus Du Plessis as a tough and often underrated contender, saying he doesn't get the recognition he truly deserves. Rockhold highlighted Du Plessis' awkward rhythm, unpredictable timing, and unconventional fighting style as key elements that make him hard to deal with inside the cage. He also credited Dricus for his strong self-belief, solid grappling and wrestling skills, and striking that, while unorthodox in appearance, consistently gets the job done.
DDP is tough. He's tough as nails. You know, people don't give him a lot of credit. He's just awkwardly. He's got weird timing and rhythm, and he's good. I mean, he mixes it up. He's very confident. And that's what everything's about. So he's got good grappling, decent wrestling, and some funky ass striking, but it works.
Ikram Aliskerov shared his thoughts on the highly anticipated showdown, picking Khamzat Chimaev to beat Dricus Du Plessis, but not without acknowledging the uphill battle ahead. He praised DDP as a well-rounded fighter, highlighting his solid wrestling, grappling, and striking. Ikram noted that no matter what people say, Du Plessis always finds a way to win. Khamzat is a complete fighter, he said. But Dricus? He's not simple. People always count him out, and he keeps beating everyone. Still, I hope Khamzat gets the win. Michael Venom Page also backed Chimaev, though he was quick to point out that Du Plessis poses a real threat. He compared Khamzat's explosive first-round style to Crash Bandicoot, fast, wild, and aggressive, but warned that his energy tends to drop after the initial burst. MVP praised Dricus' rare muscle endurance and relentless pressure, comparing it to the non-stop pace of Merab Dvalishvili. If Khamzat doesn't finish it early, he said, this could easily slip away.
I don't see anybody beating him.
I like Khamzat too. I think he's been really incredible.
Yeah, definitely. He looked better in the last fight. Obviously, it didn't last long, so we didn't get to see it. But normally, he's like Crash Bandicoot the first round, and then his energy dips.
DDP has been interesting, though.
I feel like Dricus is very underrated for a belt holder here.
But that's the thing. If anybody was to, it would be Dricus, because that is the muscular endurance. If you look at like some of the fights nowadays, Merab, Dricus, these guys that have the muscular endurance to be fighting at 7 the whole fight. But then you got someone like Merab that's 7-8 from start to finish. Mate, that's difficult to deal with. And Dricus seems exactly the same. He's like 7-8 the whole time. So if you don't kill him and get him out of there in that first round, second round, then you're going to have a problem for the rest of the fight.
On the contrary, UFC veteran Eric Anders had high praise for Dricus Du Plessis, calling him a puzzle that no one has been able to solve yet. He pointed out that Khamzat Chimaev has struggled with long layoffs and hasn't maintained consistent activity, whereas Du Plessis has remained busy, finishing Robert Whittaker in the second round and defeating Israel Adesanya to claim the title. Anders emphasized that DDP's resume speaks volumes, and his awkward, unpredictable style might be exactly what he needs to survive the early storm and eventually break down Chimaev.
You know, Dricus seems to be the puzzle that can't nobody solve yet, you know? Chimaev always has these long layoffs, and I can't remember the last person he fought, you know?
Whittaker, he finished Whittaker in the first round, remember that?
Oh, that's right, he did. You know, but, you know, Dricus has, you know, clearly been more active, and, you know, did him and Whittaker fight?
Yeah, and Dricus also finished Whittaker, but it was a second round finish, it was a TKO.
Yeah. And then Adesanya, so I think, you know, obviously the resume and work goes to Du Plessis, so I think that he'll be able to get out there, be awkward, and weather that storm, and, you know, find a way to...
Eric Anders also raised concerns about Khamzat Chimaev's ability to maintain a high pace across 5 full rounds. Reflecting on Chimaev's fight with Gilbert Burns, Anders noted how the explosive start quickly gave way to visible fatigue. With Dricus Du Plessis' renowned durability and elite cardio, Anders believes the momentum could shift if the fight goes long, leading him to favor DDP in this matchup.
5 rounds is a long time for Chimaev. You know, you look at the Gilbert Burns fight, he emptied the tank in the first round, and, you know, I guess he still beat Gilbert Burns, but... you know, it's a lot closer than I think he wanted, so I'm going to go with Du Plessis.
Stephen Wonderboy Thompson also weighed in, calling the matchup a tough one for Khamzat Chimaev. He described Dricus Du Plessis as unorthodox, physically strong, and a tough puzzle to solve, especially over 5 rounds. Thompson believes if Dricus can survive the early surge, the momentum could swing in his favor. While acknowledging Chimaev's evolution and physical strength, Thompson questioned his gas tank in longer fights and leaned slightly toward DDP in what he expects to be a gritty, competitive battle. He stated Du Plessis' awkwardness makes him difficult to deal with. If he weathers the early storm, I'm leaning toward Dricus, white right pointing backhand index. So that wraps up today's video. Who do you think takes the W, Khamzat Chimaev or Dricus Du Plessis? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more fight updates, reactions, and MMA breakdowns.